And live pictures now from Western North Carolina. The new Homeland Security Secretary Mullen is touring parts of the state's devastated areas by Hurricanes Helene and Florence. It's been about a year and a half since the Hurricane Helene ripped through the region, killing more than 100 people. The damage was catastrophic. Mullen plans to highlight FEMA's ongoing mission to help those communities rebuild. A lot of them are still struggling. The agency just announced more than $103 million for recovery efforts in North Carolina. It includes $26 million to purchase permanently damaged homes in Henderson, Polk, and Yancey counties. Here now from North Carolina, resident and Hurricane Helene community advocate, Lynn Russo. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. We still know that there are communities that are just desperate to get help. So what are you hoping to hear today with the Secretary's visit?
Thanks so much for having me on today. I appreciate it. I, for one, am happy and truthfully hopeful for this visit from Secretary Mullen. We had $60 billion worth of damage here in Western North Carolina. And unfortunately, what we've been living with on the ground hasn't matched what we were promised from the start. So there are 125,000 homes that were damaged and 800,000 acres. Our farmers have really struggled since Helene, and rebuilding homes has been a long haul. We also have a lot of downed trees here, and because we haven't gotten the funds needed from FEMA, they now are going to be perfect fuel for wildfires. So we are hopeful that Secretary Mullen will come in and really show up with the dollars that we'll need for recovery. That $103 million that you referenced is wonderful. We're excited about it. I live in Henderson County, where some of those homes that you mentioned will be repaired, but that is less than 1% of what we'll need. We've only received 12% of the funding that we'll need to recover from Hurricane Helene. So we're hoping, as he surveys the damage, that he'll have a greater understanding of the needs on the ground. There are a lot of people that feel desperate to move forward, with repairs, people who can't get to their homes still, folks that never were paid by FEMA that have done work. It's a bit of a struggle, and I would love for people here to be able to feel like they can thrive and not just work to survive.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what happened in such a short period.
Yes,
I mean, lives were just destroyed. And I remember the aftermath, people simply felt completely ignored. I mean, their lives were destroyed, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I talk to people on the ground here every day. And a huge part of what I find is that people don't feel seen or heard here because we've only gotten that 12% of funding. That's the lowest amount for any major hurricane that's reached the mainland in the history of the U.S., meaning 12% of funding. That's $7 billion out of the $60 billion. So as these wildfires, the season continues on, people are getting more and more worried. They've reduced the size of the forestry just recently in the past week or so, and we had hundreds of thousands of trees that were downed, and all these roads that still need repair. They've been able to cobble together things to make sure that state-maintained roads are at least passable, and some of them are working well, but private roads and bridges really haven't been repaired. And there were a lot of people that were mid-work and then didn't receive the money that was promised from FEMA. So we're hoping that he'll provide more integrity around their word when they promise that projects will be worked on.
Right, Lynn, we're thinking of you. Unfortunately, we have to get to some breaking news, but we are watching your progress. We are grateful that you are coming on, and we'll keep track of Secretary